The first time I heard an alien beg, it wasn't for mercy. It was for soup. Snow howled sideways across the refugee checkpoint, screaming against rusted steel and cracked floodlights when the woman stepped out of the storm barefoot, clutching a shivering child. Her skin shimmered faintly, opalescent beneath the ice, and her eyes reflected too much light. Not human. Definitely not human. She looked at me through the rifle scope and whispered words my translator barely caught. "We just want a hot meal, please." Behind her, the storm swallowed the stars. And I knew, with a certainty that tightened my chest, that this moment would change everything. But none of us were prepared for what came next. Earth, year 2149, wasn't a planet anymore. It was a shelter, a cold, dying thing wrapped in emergency protocols and regret. After the atmospheric fractures and orbital wars, the sun felt farther away. We lived under domes, rationed heat like oxygen, and told ourselves the alien arrivals were invaders. That lie kept us warm at night. My name is Elias Cade, former climatologist, current border enforcement officer for the Northern Refuge Zone. I'd studied planetary collapse for decades, but nothing prepared me for the first wave of arrivals. Ships tearing through the sky like burning prayers, then crashing into the polar ice. Survivors came stumbling out, strange and frightened. We met them with guns. I lowered my rifle as the alien mother collapsed to her knees, the child sobbing into her chest. Frostbitten toes, blue lips, no weapons. Around me, my squad shifted nervously. Orders were clear. No unauthorized life forms passed the perimeter. But something in her voice cracked me open. What I saw next changed everything. I approached slowly, boots crunching in the snow. Up close, she looked impossibly fragile. Her daughter, maybe 6 years old, had translucent skin veined with light, like frozen starlight beneath ice. The child stared at me with terrified curiosity, her breath coming out in crystalline puffs. "You can't be here," I said, the words automatic. "This zone is sealed." The mother lifted her head. Tears froze on her cheeks. "Your broadcasts," she said haltingly. "You said warmth, aid, safe harbor." My stomach dropped. We had sent those messages years ago into deep space. A desperate bluff. A lie meant to scare off scavenger fleets. But they heard it. Behind me, alarms blared. More signatures on the scanners. Another wave inbound. This was only the beginning. Command barked in my ear. "Cade, step back. They could be carrying biohazards." The child whimpered. The mother pulled her closer, shielding her with her own body. That instinct, so painfully familiar, hit me harder than any alien weapon ever could. "I'm begging you," she said. "She hasn't eaten in 2 days." For a moment, the world narrowed to the space between us. Human emotion versus alien logic. Orders versus conscience. I remember my own daughter, lost during the evacuation riots, her small hand slipping from mine in the crowd. I made a choice that would damn me or save us all. "Bring them inside," I said. Everything unraveled after that. The medical bay lights flickered as the alien child was wrapped in thermal blankets. Steam rose from her skin as warmth returned, her glow brightening softly. The mother watched every movement with razor-sharp fear, ready to flee. "You're safe?" I told her, though I wasn't sure it was true. She studied me. "No one is safe," she replied. "Not anymore." Her name translated roughly to Mara. Her daughter was Luma. They came from a civilization called the Eralis, once masters of atmospheric engineering, now reduced to refugees. Their world had frozen after a chain reaction collapse. Sound familiar? It should have. As more survivors arrived, the dome strained. Food stores dipped. Panic spread. News feeds screamed alien invasion. My superiors demanded answers. Then the data started coming in. Their biology matched ours in terrifying ways. DNA structures twisted but recognizable. Evolutionary cousins, or something closer. My old instincts kicked in. I ran unauthorized scans, cross-referencing their genetic markers with archived human data. What I found made my hands shake. These aren't aliens, I whispered to myself. They're us. But that revelation was only the beginning. At the midpoint of the crisis, as riots erupted outside the dome and orbital cannons powered up, Mara finally told me the truth. Her people hadn't come to Earth by chance. They were running from it. Your species didn't just destroy your world, she said quietly, as Luma slept between us. You spread the damage. Centuries ago, humans seeded our planet with climate stabilizers. Miracle technology. It worked until it didn't. My chest tightened. That program was classified. Decommissioned. No, Mara said. It was abandoned. And when it failed, it rewrote us. Changed us. We survived, but we were no longer human enough to come home. The turning point hit, like a punch to the gut. We weren't being invaded. We were being confronted by our future. The Aralis were descendants of human colonists, altered by survival, cast off when Earth began dying too. They had learned something we hadn't. How to reverse the freeze. One chance. One planet. Earth. Command planned to wipe them out before that knowledge spread. Fear is efficient like that. I was ordered to step aside. Instead, I stood in front of Mara and Luma as soldiers raised their weapons. This ends now, my commander said. Step away. I thought of every warning I'd ever written, every ignored model predicting collapse. I thought of a barefoot mother begging for soup in the snow. No, I said, it begins now. What happened next will be debated for generations. I broadcast Mara's data across every channel. I showed the truth, our shared DNA, our shared guilt, our shared fate. The feeds went silent. Then the guns lowered. Slowly. The storm outside eased, as if the planet itself was listening. In the months that followed, humans and Aralis worked side by side. Their technology, fused with our stubborn hope, began warming the ice, stabilizing the sky. It wasn't a miracle. It was cooperation. Painful, fragile, real. Mara never stopped watching the horizon. Trauma doesn't vanish just because the temperature rises. One evening, I found her and Luma by the dome's edge, snow melting into puddles at their feet. Luma laughed as steam curled around her toes. You saved us, I said. Mara shook her head. No, you listened. As the sun, our sun, burned a little brighter overhead, I realized a truth we've been avoiding since the first broadcast went unanswered. Earth was never meant to be saved by humans alone. The final line of my old climate report echoed in my mind as I watched a once alien child eat her first hot meal in years. Survival is not about borders. It's about who we choose to warm.